Hey NFL fans, before we dive into today's hottest stories, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update from NFL news now. Alright, football fans, buckle up because we've got some real buzz coming out of Dallas this week. And yes, it's the kind of news that makes every Cowboys fan sit up, grab their coffee, and start scrolling like crazy through every update possible. CeeDee Lamb, the Cowboys' electric wide receiver and the heartbeat of this offense, might finally be back on the field after a frustrating month stuck on the sidelines. That's right, after missing 4 straight games with that nasty high ankle sprain, Lamb returned to practice this Wednesday. And that's not just smoke. It's a real signal that he's pushing hard to suit up against the Washington Commanders this Sunday. John Machota from The Athletic dropped the update we've all been waiting for, and it's a good one. CD was limited in practice, but everything points toward a potential return this weekend. The keyword here, and Cowboys fans know it too well, is no setbacks. If Lamb's ankle holds up through the week, if he doesn't feel that familiar sting when he plants or cuts, then come Sunday, he's strapping that helmet back on and giving Dak Prescott his favorite weapon again. The Cowboys have been quietly circling this Week 7 matchup as Lamb's big return date. But as everyone knows with ankle injuries, timelines are about as reliable as a coin toss in Texas wind. Still, this week's developments finally feel like progress that matters. Now, let's talk about why this is such a big deal. Losing Lamb was like taking the spark out of a fireworks show. The guy isn't just a receiver. He's the playmaker, the guy who can turn a simple slant into a highlight reel touchdown. He's that perfect blend of speed, footwork, and attitude that keeps defenses on their heels. Without him, the Cowboys have been forced to improvise, to shuffle pieces, and to dig deeper into the playbook. But the offense, surprisingly, hasn't fallen apart. In fact, it's been solid. Not spectacular, but resilient, thanks in large part to the guy under center, Dak Prescott, who's been playing some of the best football of his career. Let's give Dak his flowers for a second, because he deserves them. Through 6 games, he's leading the league with 13 touchdown passes, only 3 picks, and over 1,600 passing yards. That's not just managing the game. That's taking control of it. His 79.2 quarterback rating ranks second in the NFL, and that's with his top target sitting in street clothes for an entire month. You can tell Dak's confidence hasn't dipped. If anything, it's grown. He's spreading the ball around, keeping defenses guessing, and showing that he can carry this offense when he needs to. And let's not overlook the emergence of George Pickens. Now that's a story nobody saw coming when the Cowboys signed him out of Pittsburgh this offseason. Pickens was supposed to be a complementary piece, a solid WR2 option who could stretch the field while Lamb drew the double teams. But with Lamb sidelined, Pickens has been nothing short of sensational. He's leading the team in receptions, yards, and touchdowns, putting up 32 catches for 525 yards and 6 scores. Let that sink in. He's had a touchdown in 5 straight games and topped the 100-yard mark in 2 of the last 3. The chemistry between him and Dak looks like it's been years in the making. Still, as good as Pickens has been, the Cowboys' offense just hits differently when Lamb is on the field. Defenses respect him in a way that opens everything else up. The tight ends get more room to work the seams, the running backs see lighter boxes, and Prescott gets that go-to guy he can trust on 3rd and long. Without Lamb, the Cowboys have relied on creativity. With him, they can rely on dominance. His presence changes the entire identity of the offense. And that's exactly what Dallas needs heading into a divisional game that could shape the rest of their season. Now, if you've followed this team long enough, you know that injuries like Lamb's are tricky. High ankle sprains aren't the kind of thing you just walk off. They linger, they mess with your acceleration, and worst of all, they love to come back when you least expect it. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler hinted at this very issue last week, saying the Cowboys had been targeting this 2 to 3 week return window for Lamb. But everything depended on how he handled practice reps. Fowler even said the plan was loose, meaning Dallas wasn't rushing it. They wanted to make sure Lamb was ready, really ready, before throwing him back into full-speed action. And that's smart. The last thing anyone wants is to see Lamb back for a week only to limp off again before halftime. The timing of all this couldn't be more critical. The Cowboys sit right in the thick of the NFC race, trying to keep pace with the Eagles and Lions while fending off the Commanders and Giants in their own division. A win this Sunday against Washington wouldn't just be another check in the win column. it would send a message. It would tell the rest of the league that Dallas is about to hit full throttle. Because if Dak Prescott is playing like this without Lamb, just imagine what happens when number 88 is back out there shaking cornerbacks out of their cleats. And here's the thing about Lamb. He's not the type to ease back into things. If he's cleared to play, he's not going half speed. That's just not his DNA. The guy's a competitor, and you can see it in the way he practices, the way he talks, and the way he celebrates after a first down. He brings that swagger that every locker room feeds off of. When Lamb's dancing on the sideline, when he's jawing with defenders, when he's pointing for that first down, the whole team feels it. It's contagious. That's why his potential return this weekend isn't just about stats. It's about energy, attitude, and momentum. Of course, Dallas has been careful not to rush anyone this season. After losing key pieces in years past because of early returns gone wrong, the Cowboys medical staff has built a reputation for patience. They're meticulous, maybe even overprotective at times, but it's worked. They've managed to keep their core relatively healthy deep into the season. So if Lamb gets the green light this Sunday, fans can rest easy knowing it's not a gamble. It's because the team truly believes he's ready. And if you're Washington, you've got to be sweating this one. The Commanders' secondary has had its share of struggles this season, giving up big plays and showing lapses in communication. Add CeeDee Lamb into that mix, and suddenly defensive coordinator Jack Del Rio is going to be losing sleep trying to figure out how to contain both him and Pickens at the same time. Double Lamb, and Pickens burns you. Focus on Pickens, and Lamb will eat your corners alive. It's a pick-your-poison situation, and it's the kind of offensive balance the Cowboys have been missing. It's been a long, frustrating wait for Cowboys fans, watching highlight reels from last season and wondering when their star wideout would be back. But now, the light at the end of the tunnel is bright. Lamb's back at practice. He's cutting, running, catching, and smiling again. That's the version of CD Dallas needs, not just physically ready, but mentally hungry. Because when he's locked in, he's one of the most dangerous players in the league, period. So, as Sunday approaches, all eyes will be on that final injury report. If CeeDee Lamb's name comes off the list, expect AT&T Stadium to be electric. Expect Dak Prescott to come out firing. Expect the Cowboys offense to look whole again. Because the return of CeeDee Lamb isn't just a storyline, it's a turning point. Dallas has held its ground without him. But with him back, they're ready to make their push. The Commanders might just be the unlucky team that gets front row seats to the CD comeback show. Keep watching as we analyze more details about some rumors. The rumor mill has been spinning at full speed lately, and if the whispers circling the league hold any weight, Dallas Cowboys fans are in for a shock that could redefine the franchise's future. The talk around the locker room, in the training facilities, and among insiders with sources close to the organization is that Dak Prescott, the man who has led the Cowboys for nearly a decade, might be packing his bags sooner than anyone expected. Yes, you heard it right. Dak Prescott could be leaving Dallas at the conclusion of the 2025 NFL season. For years, Prescott has been the face of the Cowboys, the cornerstone of a franchise that hasn't been shy about showcasing its ambitions to dominate the league. Yet now, after a series of subtle but significant developments, everything could be about to change. It all started with what seemed like minor signs. Offhand comments in interviews, shifts in contract negotiations, and what some insiders are calling uncharacteristic quietness from Prescott himself. Usually outspoken and confident, Dak has recently been measured, almost cautious, when discussing his future. Those in his inner circle hint at a man who has begun weighing options beyond the bright lights of AT&T Stadium. While he hasn't officially made any statements, multiple sources suggest that discussions about his long-term place in Dallas have grown increasingly tense and private. And when you combine that with the Cowboys' ongoing challenges in assembling a truly elite roster capable of delivering a Super Bowl title, a pattern starts to emerge, one that paints a picture of a player potentially ready for a fresh start elsewhere. The financial aspects cannot be ignored. Prescott's current contract, which at the time was seen as a statement of faith in his abilities, has increasingly become a focal point in these rumors. Dallas has been careful with salary cap management, navigating a league that constantly punishes teams that overspend without immediate returns. For Prescott, a quarterback in the prime of his career, the allure of a new contract with guaranteed security, incentives, and perhaps the promise of a team fully built around his skill set could be compelling. Even if the Cowboys made an offer to extend his tenure, whispers suggest that he might be seeking more than Dallas is willing or able to provide, especially if the front office is already eyeing a generational shift at quarterback in the coming years. The timing, too, has fans talking. 2025 marks a critical juncture for the franchise, a season that could define the next era. If Prescott exits, it's not just a free agency decision. It's a seismic shakeup that would force the organization to rethink draft strategies, personnel decisions, and even coaching approaches. You can almost picture the scenario. The Cowboys, amid high expectations, suddenly staring at the looming reality of life without their star quarterback. The locker room dynamics would shift overnight. Younger players who have idolized Prescott would have to adapt quickly, while veterans might find themselves caught in the uncertainty of transition. It's the kind of disruption that doesn't just affect the field. It reverberates through every aspect of the team's identity, branding, and long-term strategy. Meanwhile, the fan base is buzzing with speculation. Social media platforms are lit with theories about where Dak might land, ranging from traditional powerhouse franchises eager to make a splash to teams that have been searching for a proven quarterback to lead them into contention. Some analysts are hinting at scenarios that would see him paired with elite offensive weapons, perhaps in systems that more closely align with his strengths, where the pressure of being the singular savior of a franchise is tempered by a stronger supporting cast. Others speculate that Prescott might even be considering a bold move to a team outside the typical spotlight, a place where he can recalibrate his career and perhaps chase that elusive Super Bowl appearance he has chased tirelessly in Dallas. The Cowboys' internal reaction, according to those sources, has been a mixture of disbelief and cautious planning. There's no official confirmation from the front office, but it's believed that executives have quietly begun exploring contingency plans, scouting potential quarterbacks who could step into a leadership role should Prescott follow through on this rumored departure. Draft boards may already be shifting, trade discussions may be under the table, and the coaching staff is likely reassessing offensive schemes with an eye toward a post-Prescott era. If true, the implications are enormous. A franchise with a rich legacy suddenly facing a crossroads, having to decide whether to double down on its current roster or embrace a complete rebuild around new leadership. Of course, this isn't the first time such rumors have swirled around Prescott. Injuries, past contract negotiations, and playoff disappointments have always fueled speculation about his future. Yet there's something about the 2025 season that feels different, a sense of inevitability that hangs over the story like a shadow. Insiders talk about subtle cues, a shift in his training focus, less participation in Cowboys promotional events, and even hints in private conversations that he is envisioning life outside of Dallas. These are the breadcrumbs that suggest this isn't just idle chatter, but a narrative gaining momentum, one that could fundamentally alter the league landscape once it reaches its climax. Analysts are already debating the ripple effects across the NFL. Which teams have the cap space, the coaching acumen, and the offensive infrastructure to woo Prescott? How would this affect division rivalries, particularly with teams that have struggled against Dallas in recent seasons? Could this trigger a domino effect, with other quarterbacks and star players reconsidering their positions in the league? Every speculation seems to feed into a growing consensus that if Dak Prescott does leave, it won't just be a player changing jerseys. It will be a storyline that reshapes playoff projections, draft strategies, and team identities across the league. And for Cowboys fans, it's a tension-filled wait, balancing hope that their franchise will remain competitive with the anxiety of seeing a beloved leader potentially walk away. The cultural impact is also worth noting. Prescott has been more than just a quarterback. He's been a symbol of resilience, leadership, and the fight to return Dallas to championship glory. His departure, if it happens, would send shockwaves not only through the franchise but also through the fan base that has celebrated his victories, endured his injuries, and invested emotionally in his journey. Merchandising, marketing campaigns, and even community initiatives that have prominently featured Prescott would suddenly need recalibration. In a league where narratives are nearly as important as performance on the field, losing a marquee player like Dak Prescott would force the Cowboys to reinvent themselves, both in terms of branding and public perception. It's also intriguing to consider Prescott's perspective in all this. A player of his caliber and experience is acutely aware of timing. Leaving Dallas after the 2025 season could provide the perfect storm of opportunity. Teams in need of a proven quarterback might be willing to offer both financial incentives and a strong supporting roster, while Prescott himself could leverage this transition to redefine his legacy. Rumor has it that he's weighing personal factors as much as professional ones, considering family, lifestyle, and long-term career ambitions. This human element often gets lost in the statistics and speculation, but it's essential in understanding why a move of this magnitude feels increasingly plausible. In conclusion, or rather, in the continuing saga, this rumor about Dak Prescott leaving the Cowboys after the 2025 season has all the hallmarks of a seismic shift in the NFL landscape. Every day seems to bring new tidbits, whispered confirmations, and growing anticipation among fans and insiders alike. While nothing has been officially confirmed, the pieces are aligning in a way that makes this storyline hard to ignore. For now, the league watches, analysts debate, and fans speculate, all while the countdown to the end of the 2025 season slowly ticks away. Whether Dak Prescott ultimately decides to stay loyal to the Cowboys or take his talents elsewhere, one thing is certain. The drama surrounding his potential departure has already captivated the football world, sparking conversations that will dominate headlines, locker rooms, and social media feeds well into the next decade. And for those who thrive on the thrill of rumors and the uncertainty of the NFL, this is shaping up to be one of the most compelling storylines of the 2025 season, and possibly of Prescott's entire career. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video and share it with your fellow NFL fans. Stay tuned for more updates, only here on NFL News Now.